What's up, everybody? Josh here with 508 Magnets. As most of you probably already know, a couple weeks ago I found a bazooka round in the Charles River here in Boston when I was magnet fishing. And it was the find of a lifetime. I never in my wildest dreams would have thought that I'd find something so incredible and historic and dangerous. I'm really glad that everything went smoothly with it, that it was, not really an active threat. Everything was handled appropriately and safely. But as you know, this happened.
The state police bomb squad detonated the ordnance.
So yeah, the bomb squad came and they removed, and I think they call it anti-charged. Essentially, they blew up my bazooka round. It's pretty sad because as dangerous as it may have been, it's something that I totally would have kept. And I don't keep a lot of magnet fishing finds. If someone asked me what's my favorite find magnet fishing, I would be immediately bazooka round. That's just the most incredible thing I'd ever found. But they took it and they blew it up. And I'm not mad at them for that. They had their reasons. I accepted it. It's not something you really should have. So I came up with a plan to get my bazooka round back. Alright, so for the last few hours, I spent them on my computer actually measuring and rendering a 3D depiction of the bazooka round that I found. So now I'm going to be able to safely hold my bazooka round once again. So before I could even start designing my rocket, I had to first find the plans. Now I found these online. They're what I believe is the exact model of rocket that I found, and it gives a few basic dimensions: 23.55 inches long from tip to tip, and I know that the rocket was 3.5 inches in diameter. So that gives me the base of where I started from. So what I did from there is I actually printed out plans, the same plans to be life size, so that I could get the exact dimensions of all of these pieces. Now this was not easy, and it took a lot of time and patience to go through all this and figure out what exactly was what. Now I did find one guy online who was selling he actually made a 3D model of these and was selling them online. And I asked him for the plans. I'm like, can I just have the plans? I have my own 3D printer. I just want to print one for myself. And he said no. So unfortunately, I had to go and design my own. So this video is going to be a bit of a documentary on how I have recreated the bazooka round, which is known as an M28 rocket, so that I can have it for my own to display and tell people this is what I've caught in a very safe, non-explosive manner. Alright, so here are my plans that I designed. I measured and designed and sculpted every single piece of this from the measurements that I obtained. And first off is I'm printing the cone, and this was probably one of the harder pieces to print out. And the piece will be hollow, just like the actual rocket. Then I've got the head here, this gray one. You can see that it's also hollowed out, just like it would be. Then we go down to this red one is the part of the rocket that's called the fuse. The large purple one is actually the motor. That's where all the combustibles for the rocket engine are kept. And then we come down to the fins, and this is actually, if we swing down to the underside, hollowed out in a cone shape, just like it was on the actual device. And then this is the ring that goes around these fins, and it probably had wires and gizmos and things like that. But that's what I made, and this is the most intricate 3D model I've ever designed, and we're gonna we're gonna give it a go here and see what happens. Alright, if you're not familiar with 3D printing, it's a process of creating objects out of tiny individual layers of essentially molten plastic. Now here we're starting on making the cone, and this outer circle is the cone itself. The inner circle is actually just a support system for the tip, the top of the very cone, so it doesn't collapse in on itself while it's printing. You can see this is a very slow process, millimeters upon millimeters of layers, and this is actually going to take 17.5 hours and use 77 grams of filament. Now the filament's up here on the roll, and by the time I'm done with this entire model, it's going to use up almost this whole roll of filament. This is 1 kilogram of filament, and I'm going to use about 800 grams of that. So right now we are still working on the cone, and it's going to be at least a whole nother day before this comes off the printer bed. So I'll give you an update on that in, I don't know, hours from now, which will be minutes or seconds for you guys. Alright, part 1 is done after 17 hours, 2 minutes, and 16 seconds of printing. See if we can pull it off the bed. There we go, and that's the support piece on the inside. That just pulls right out. Nice hollow cone we got. Shed some light on it, there we go. Looks awesome. Part 1 of 6. Alright, now that that part is complete, we can work on part 2. This is the cone part, so let me do this real quick and show you how this works. So we just printed the cone. I'm going to move this up here. And this would go right on top. And that is the head, the whole head part. And right now we're printing this part here, this gray part. And it's going to be hollowed out just like it is on the actual rocket. So let's go to the printer, see what's going on. Alright, over here at the printer, we've got the head going right now. A little hard to see with all the black filament, but that's the biggest roll that I've got, so that's the color I'm using. But you can see the support center, and the printer head is just going around and printing, and we're gonna let it run for a second. You guys can see. That's all it does, it just goes around and around for the next few hours. This rough motion is it putting in support systems in between the inner and outer wall. And this has been running for 5 hours, and it still has 20 hours to go. So the E is elapsed time and the R is remaining time, and it's 20% done. So we'll see you in 20 hours. This is the biggest piece that we got. Alright, we're now 13 hours in on printing the head of the rocket, and it's basically just a tall empty cylinder, but you can see what was one support in the center has now split off into 2 and is starting to split off into more, so that means we're getting closer to the curvature of the inside. And you can actually see on the back wall there, right about right there, that the pattern is changing, and that means that it's starting to curve inwards. So we got a lot more, almost 20 more hours to go on this potentially, and we'll let you know how it's going tomorrow. Alright, I just came down to check just in time. This is done, and let's get the light over here. This is looking pretty good. We do have a couple of weird anomalies here. I don't know if you can see that, but there's like a piece hanging off. Let's take this off the bed. Check it out. There's the support from the middle. These are super fun. You just give them a squeeze. Super satisfying just to crush. But let's check this out. Alright, so the supports failed a little bit in there, I think, but we still have a pretty successful print. And I'm going to clean this up, pull some of these supports off here, and see how it goes. This one took 1 day, 8 hours, 7 minutes, and 42 seconds, start to finish. Pretty crazy. Alright, next on the printing docket is this red piece right here, and that is what is called the fuse for the actual rocket. That's where the igniter, the fuse, would be, and that connects to the base of the head that we just printed. So these screws right there will attach to the screw hole there. So I did go ahead and test fit these. They all fit really nicely. Technically they're supposed to screw together, but my design didn't quite turn out alright, but they do attach, so I'm calling it a bit of a win, and maybe if I get nitpicky I will reprint it, but for now it works. So that's the inside. I did manage to get all that support material out of there, and that's the threaded base that the next print will attach onto. So that's what's printing now, is the fuse section. Alright, it's the next morning and the fuse section is done. Let's pull it off here. There we go. So satisfying. So we got the screw top, and this will be a hollow bottom. I got to pull all this stuff out. This keeps the threads from collapsing. And the fuse section took 10 hours, 42 minutes, and 43 seconds. And it looks pretty good. Alright, now that we have finished the fuse portion, I got a shot of it here all together. There's the cone, the head, and it's standing on the fuse. Everything's fitting together very nicely. We are going to be working on what is called the motor, and that's this big, tall, purple piece. And this one has been printing now for about 3 hours, and that's as far as we got right now. And it's gonna go all the way up. So that's what we're working on right now. So this is the motor, and that should take about 20 hours. So I'll be back tomorrow with an update on this one. Alright, so I've reprinted the motor actually 4 times, and each time they've all failed. This was the original one. You can see now, I started painting this as a test piece. You can see now that big clump of melted filament on there. So that's completely unusable. This one, I accidentally messed up the machine mid-print, so it stopped. This one fell over again for some reason, and this one got a little bit taller, almost the exact same height as the original before it failed, but it's not as big a mess as this one. So what I'm going to do instead of wasting another 20 hours in all this filament, I just went ahead and printed the remaining heights, and I'm gonna attach these 2 pieces like so and call it good, because I'm done. I'm done. I've done this 4 times now. So we will get this glued together and attached to the rest of the pieces. Now that we are finished with the motor section, we're moving on to the fins. This was a pretty cool piece to design. And yeah, I really like how it came out. Let's see, in the bottom here, you can see is hollowed out just like it would be on the actual piece in a cone shape. It's got 6 fins going all the way around. And then after this one, we'll be on to the last piece, which is this. And it'll sit right around it, just like that. It's gonna hopefully slide right into place. And then we'll be done. So we're on to, this is part number 5. Let's go to the printer, check it out. Fix the lighting here a little bit. There we go, we can see it's printing. I got the 6 fins and some supports going. We are moving along. Alright, this has about 16 hours to go, so it'll be done sometime tonight. Alright, and with that, the fins are done. That's pretty cool. Again, we got some support material. These will just pop right off. Let's see if we can't get this up. This is by far the most intricate piece I have. Most everything else is basically a tube. Alright, let's pull this stuff off. Here we go, this is supports. Let's give them a satisfying crunch. Yeah. Alright, let's check it out. There we go, a couple little stray hairs, nothing we can't handle. Nice solid cone interior, and that is gonna look sweet. Alright, next up is our final piece. That is the orange one here. This, I'm calling this the ring. I'm not exactly sure what its purpose is, but it goes around the fins like that. And, you know, that's what it is. Alright, the last piece here is done. This one probably came out the worst, honestly. Their horse supports, they all fell off mid-print and then left some of this fun stuff here. There we go, and a lot of stringing on the inside. Not sure what's going on with that, but overall I think this will clean up nice, and we'll see how it works with the rest of it. This one took 9 hours and just about 16 minutes. So there we go, there's the final piece. Alright, so here is all the pieces. We've got the cone. Pretty cool there. This is the head portion, all hollowed out, just like it would be. Next in line is the fuse. Then comes the motor body. I've done some light sanding here. That's what all the discoloration is. And then the fins. Again, hollowed out in a cone section, just like it would be. And then this is the ring that goes around the fin. So I'm going to try to put it together here and see what we get. We'll start from the bottom. Just like that. Then goes the motor part. Perfect. Then we got the fuse. Nice. I know it's probably a little hard to see with it being all black, but there we go. And finally, we've got the cone. And the cone doesn't stay on too well, but there it is. There is the rocket that I once caught magnet fish in. And now I can hold it in my hand safely again. So there it is. That's pretty cool. Life size. And we're going to do some final touches, paint it up, and that'll be that. How cool is that? Alright, so the rocket is complete. I have painted it, and I am super happy with how it came out. I didn't film any of the painting because it's just monotonous, but tons of sanding, priming, painting. I went through 2 color choices and looking at hundreds of images online of these rockets just to make sure I got the closest colors that I could. And here it is. Here is the absolute final product right there, and I am super happy with it. The fact that I designed this myself from scratch, just from these simple measurements right here, is just, I'm super happy with it. I'm thrilled of how it came out. Everything is in super great detail, and this all comes apart. As you saw, it was in pieces. So in the video that I'm holding it like this, there's no cone on there because the cone broke off. So now you can actually see exactly what it was. This is hollow, just like that, and the cone is hollow. I can take this on and put it back, take it off, put it on, and if I wanted to, I can even take apart this whole thing to show all the different pieces that are involved. So it's really cool how everything came out. I'm super happy with it. I actually just finished up the lettering, thanks to my wife for the help with her Cricut machine, helping me make a little stencil. And it was a lot of fun, a lot of work. The computer estimated it at 108 hours of print time, which is just about 4 days if I were to print non-stop. Definitely took longer than that because I had to print this motor piece about 3 or 4 times. I forget which exactly it was now. And I actually did reprint the head and the cone portion here because they weren't connecting properly. So all in all, I spent over 108 hours of printing because I did this one 3 times, and it's 20 hours each time. And I did the head and the cone twice, and those are 17 hours and 33 hours. So way over budget, but very happy with the final results. I think if I'm only counting the pieces that I used, it was either right around 100 hours of print time or 104 hours of print time. Either way, I'm super happy with it. It's life size, and now when people ask me about it, I can show them this, and that's super cool to be able to hold it in a manner that it's not going to hurt anybody. It's not going to explode. There's no risk to this. It's just plastic. All right, so there it is. There is my 3D printed M28 rocket that I originally found on magnet fishing, and I'm super happy with it. If you guys have any questions, please leave it down in the comments. If you just like how it came out, tell me in the comments down below. And yeah, definitely like the video, share it out. And if you haven't watched the original video, I'll post it up right here so you can watch that. And thanks for watching. Bazooka Josh out.